Hi, I'm Michelle Kiefer. I'm the Business Development Executive for McGraw-Hill Federal Credit Union. And today we're having a seminar on the economics of going green, how to save money while supporting the earth. People ask, what is going green? Well, basically it's the idea of making sound decisions that make both economical and ecological sense. What I'm going to go over are some options and resources for making green decisions, where to find government and utility incentives, and how to invest green. First off it's actually pretty easy to be green. Green banking, for instance. What I'm talking about is the reduction of paper and your basic carbon footprint, how much time you spend utilizing energy. Easiest way to do that is online banking. It seems pretty simplistic because it is. Online banking, bill pay, paperless statements, paperless invoices, all the energy that goes into supplying not just the paper, but the transportation required to get all the mail and everything to you can be eliminated just by online banking. If every U.S. household stopped receiving all those paper bills and statements, 687,000 tons of paper would be saved every year. That's enough paper to circle the earth 239 times. Use your check card, debit card, Visa card, instead of writing checks at the grocery store or wherever you are. Reduce paper by using that instead of writing checks. Use direct deposit so that you're not getting physical paychecks. Again, the amount of paper that's saved there and the amount of carbon footprint that's eliminated by not having one more piece of mail to transport. And lastly, ask your utility companies or people that you pay bills to, get your bills electronically. Right now, I know that most of the major utilities, whether it be New Jersey Natural Gas or with PSE&G, Con Ed, JCP&L, all offer e-bill. And I want to stress that the typical family spends at least $2,000 a year on home utility bills alone. Not only am I talking about the paper bills, but let's look at the amount that's spent on heating your home, heating your water, whatever the case may be at home. The idea is to not just save money by banking green, but being green in general. The more money we waste on keeping our homes heated or cooled in the summer, that's throwing away money that we can use for other things. Some no or low-cost solutions into cutting down the amount of energy that we spend on utilities. Install a programmable thermostat. You're not home? No reason to heat the house to 70 degrees. Have it warmed up about a half hour before you get home. Air dry the dishes instead of using the drying cycle on the dishwasher. Turn things off when they're not in use. Wash only full loads of dishes and clothes. It's actually not that expensive to run a load of dishes. Drink filtered water instead of bottled water. Overall, it's going to be not only a savings in energy, but in cost by having a water filter on your faucet or even in your refrigerator with like a Brita filter than it would be to constantly buy water bottles. Bring reusable bags to the grocery store. Turn your computer off at night. In fact, anything that's glowing before you go to bed, turn it off. Even though it's on and you see the little monitor light, it's still drawing power, whether it be your TV, your entertainment center, your computer, whatever. If it's glowing, turn it off. Use cloth napkins instead of paper. Before you want to buy that new thing that you saw in the store, see if it's available someplace else. Not just shop online, but see if it's available on Craigslist, eBay. Sometimes Amazon has sellers that sell things that are gently used, or even check out freecycle.org. And then lastly, in 2012 and 2013, there were energy tax credits. So if you've already done your taxes, you can still go back, or if you haven't done it yet, go back to see if you qualify for any of the 2013 tax credits that were available. Typically it was, if you bought a new appliance or something, it was 10% of the cost of the item up to $500. And those items are hot water heaters, air conditioners, and we'll go through a few of those in a bit. Another way, as well as watching what you do, you can be a little bit proactive too. Space heating accounts for 45% of home energy use. So if you improve your home's insulation and you seal air leaks, Those are two of the fastest way of reducing energy costs. And it's very easy to do that. You can buy what's called a smoke pen, and that's available at any hardware store. And you can check around the windows, doors, electrical boxes, plumbing fixtures, outlet. Just, it's a little waft of smoke, and if you see the smoke coming from a window, a door, an electrical outlet, that's something that needs to be sealed, because that's a waste of energy. Caulk and weather strip doors and windows. Caulk and seal wherever plumbing, ducting, or electrical wiring passes through the walls from inside to the outside. Install foam gaskets behind your switch plates and your outlets. If you have single pane windows or single pane doors, look into getting storm windows, or even honestly, just replace them with double pane glass. And if you have a fireplace, keep the damper closed when it's not in use, because if you have it open, obviously the air is rushing into your home and you're wasting energy that way. Another big part of energy use in the home is lighting. On average, households dedicate about 6% of energy dollars to lighting fixtures. If you want to cut back on that expense, switch to energy efficient light bulbs. It's one of the fastest way to do it. CFL bulbs, you've heard all about them. They use about 75% less energy and last up to 10 times longer than traditional bulbs. Also during the day, if it's not hot outside, keep shades and curtains open to take advantage of the daylight. If it is hot outside, close them to keep the house cool. Appliances on average, in general, all appliances, account for about 13% of your household's energy costs. So when you're buying new appliances, you want to make sure you're getting the best bang for your buck, as well as what's the most energy efficient. So when you're shopping, look for the Energy Star label. Energy Star appliances exceed the minimum federal standards for efficiency and quality. And also, to help compare appliances, look for the Energy Guide label, the yellow and black label you see on all appliances now. Now also, there are some incentives and support that can be had. Consumers can receive financial assistance for energy efficient improvement. Like I said, there were tax credits in 2013. Sometimes there are zero interest rate loans for home efficiency improvements. There are rebates for some qualified purchases. There's a whole database of state incentives and rebates. You can access that by going to www.dsireusa.org. Also, check your local utility company. Check their website for rebate programs. For instance, PSE&G has an entire residential whole house efficiency program that is available online. And there is a list of rebates as well that you can just look at right on their site. Some examples are, if you buy a ductless mini split air conditioning unit, there's a $500 rebate. If you buy a steam gas boiler, you can have a $300 rebate. But you can go on the PSE&G site and see what's available to you. You know, which improvements make economic sense? And again, there are plenty of online tools and calculators. PSE&G also has a home energy toolkit. You can go online on plenty of sites. You can just Google them. You can find an appliance calculator, a lighting calculator, an energy calculator to see which is the best economic sense for you. Key factors when you are trying to make that decision is, what's the total cost? And I don't mean just the total cost at the cash register. What's the total cost as far as energy? If this particular appliance says it costs $67 every time I use it, as opposed to this one that costs $73 every time I use it, maybe the one that's $73 will last longer. Got to really weigh all the options here. And then you have to look at, okay, what rebates and incentives can I subtract from that particular purchase? What are my total monthly savings going to be? Sometimes these things will end up paying for itself. And the time value of money. What else could you be doing with that money? And the same method you use when buying any appliance are the same ones you use when you're justifying buying a car, a new refrigerator, or even a light bulb. You've got to weigh all the options. It's your money. You want to make sure you're spending it correctly. Now, there's also another piece to thinking green, and that's green investing. There are two basic categories of green investing. One is called eco investment, and that is a focus on companies who work on renewable energy and clean technologies. It's the pretty literal term of eco investment. These are companies that are supporting solar, there's hydroelectricity, hybrid cars, wind turbines, things like that. That is, again, eco-investments. The other kind of green investment is socially responsible investment. There are two types of those SRIs, socially responsible investing. One is exclusionary. It's actually not investing. It is not investing in those companies that engage in undesirable social or ethical practices. If there's a company that is doing something that you don't believe is that green or you don't believe is that socially ethical, you consciously decide not to invest in it. The other is the exact opposite, inclusionary. I like what this person does. I like what this company does. This company is in line with what I think is economical, ecological, and socially ethical. Those are the inclusionary investments you want to make. There is a sliding scale of what kind of SRI goals there are. There is basic charity, which to you has pretty much a negative return unless you're specifically gaining something from that charity. A donation to a charity doesn't impact you personally. Really, it's a negligible impact, if any. Then there's what's called patient capital. It has kind of like a below market return. This is one where it may impact you one way or the other. Impact investing, there is a market rate return. Some examples I have for the charity are like United Way. Again, unless you're actively part of United Way and you're receiving assistance from United Way, you're not really getting any return from that investment. But United Way may be something that you feel is socially and morally, ecologically ethical to you. Patient capital, middle of the road. Tom's Shoes. You buy a pair of shoes for yourself, they buy a pair of shoes for somebody underprivileged. And lastly, there's what's called impact investing. I have Zipcar as an example, a company that has cars littered all over the city. So you think this is a good idea. They're not paying overhead for a rental agency or a large lot. And someday you may need to use a Zipcar just to get from your friend's apartment to the airport one day. Another way to do green investing is crowdfunding. Basically how to change the world one investment at a time. The impact of investing is growing, and as far as crowdfunding, and crowdfunding is inherently social, and it fits into socially responsible investing. Some crowdfunding sites are Indiegogo, and then there's Kickstarter, which I'm sure many of you have heard of. I have a quote here from Amy Cortez, who is an author of Locavesting, which is basically, investing locally. If Americans shifted just 1% of the $10 trillion they hold in long-term investments to small businesses, it would amount to more than 10 times the venture capital invested in all of 2011, just by investing into small businesses, small startups, even if it's investing directly or just giving them a little boost via Indiegogo or Kickstarter.